devastated by physical assault and disease, began to virtually lose their cultures. We began to see the dramatic rise of alcohol and drug problems in tandem with that. Is there a lesson for us today? Because that's a pervasive thread in the history of addiction. In the rise of increased community disorganization, right? The disintegration of families and extended families and kinship neighborhoods and value homogenous neighborhoods. What can we expect with alcohol and drug problems as that occurs? They're going to rise. What happened in the Native American communities in response to that? Because there's sort of this image that we rolled barrels of rum and whiskey off of the boats and devastated Native America, who were simply passive victims to this raging alcoholism. And in fact, nothing could be farther from the truth. There were significant political and cultural responses to the rising alcohol problems, and among those were the very first recovery mutual aid societies in the United States. These began with Native American recovery circles in the 1730s. They're going to be followed by, one of the most significant of these is going to emerge in 1798 with the Handsome Lake Movement. And what all of these movements that I'm going to describe to you shared was framing a radical abstinence from alcohol as an act of political and cultural survival. And so what this were individuals who in recovering themselves, who then rose up to launch Native American religious and cultural revitalization movements founded on two things: radical abstinence from alcohol, a rejection of all the other European trappings, and a re-embrace of Native traditions. This early Handsome Lake movement is going to move into the 1800s, followed by the Shawnee Prophet movement, the Kickapoo Prophet movement, onto the Indian Shaker Church, the Native American Church. And I want to just continue briefly this history all the way through the 20th century, and really beginning in the 50s. We begin to see a dramatic, what I call the Indianization of Alcoholics Anonymous, this cultural adaptation of 12-step recovery in many Native American communities. And that actually extends today to the modern Wellbriety movement in Native American, particularly in Indian country today. So we have almost continuous recovery movements within Native communities throughout this time period that I'm reviewing. In the Euro-American culture, we see the first the first American autobiographies of recovery beginning in the 1830s. And by way of setting this in context, it's important to know that between about 1780 and 1830, per capita alcohol consumption jumped from about 2.5 gallons per person per year to more than 7 gallons per person per year, which is almost 4 times our current level.